Alright, time to feed the hungry viewers, hungry Steam Deck fans, that is. Hello viewers, mornings, another beautiful day. Yeah, hope your five senses work. Health insurance is good, or excellent. Alright, now, for you Arch Linux users, listen to this. It says here, Arch Linux powered Cachyos pulls in THP shrinkers and AMD cache optimizers. Says the Arch Linux-based Cachyos Linux distribution has issued its November 2024 media refresh. Notable this time are pulling a few performance-related patches in its kernel build. It says Cachyos pulls in the transparent huge pages THP shrinkers, which is slated for introduction in Linux 6.3. The THP shrinkers can enable splitting a huge page earlier for reducing memory use in transparent huge pages scenario. It says Cachyos is also carrying the AMD cache optimizer driver patches as a part of its kernel build for AMD 3D V-Cache enabled processors, where in only selected CCD have the larger cache access. The AMD cache optimizer driver allows for the user to communicate their cache versus frequency preference. It says the Cachyos kernel has also been ported. Some AMD P-state driver fixes now opt for automatically disabling the NVIDIA GPU system processor GSP firmware when using closed source driver, picking up the optical flow patches for Proton Cachyos code, and a variety of other improvement. It says following the recent Cachyos Auto FFD testing, there is also now a Linux Cachyos Auto FDO package for enabling an experimental Auto FDO optimizer Linux kernel image. There is also improved ASUS ROG Ally X handheld support in this release, along with other hardware updates. And it says download and more details on this month's Cachyos release via cachyos.org. We got 12 comments, but I'm gonna go through the other part of this. It says here Cachyos, our November 2024 release. It says here dark. It says here this is our 12th release this year, featuring performance improvement, change to partitioning, and more. We have backported from the 6.13 kernel THP shrinkers, which allow splitting huge pages earlier, reducing memory usage when transparent. Underscore huge pages is set to always while maintaining the same performance. Also, we've added the AMD cache optimizer, which can be modified at runtime to the preferred mode, cache or frequency. This changes the AMD preferred core ranking. This should help in games using the wrong CCDs. For example, you can find instruction in the wiki on how to use this. Additionally, we have backported the AMD P-state performance fix for Strix Point laptop. This should generally improve the performance of these laptops. The GSP firmware now gets automatically disabled if the user manually switches to the closed source NVIDIA module. This is because most users switch to the closed source module if they experience problem with GSP firmware. Also, we are enabling now the NVIDIA powered service as default on supported laptop cards. On Proton Cachyos, we have backported the recently posted optical flow patches. These makes DLSS frame generation work on NVIDIA GPU. Says the kernel also contains fixes for the incorrect use TDP on AMD cards. This has been very long-standing issue on the RDNA 3 family and seems to be finally fixed. Also, there has been a patch which fixes time problems on this display with 5120 by 1440 by 240 configuration. We will now inform the users if they are on an old ISO to avoid problems for users using outdated ISO with a lower S. Then it says additionally, we will now warn users if they are trying to install the Cachyos handheld edition on unsupported devices. We are currently offering the game mode like experience only for handhelds. Since we saw users installing the handheld edition on normal desktops, we will provide a warning. Outside of this, we have added KDE Plasma add-ons to the Plasma installation, as this was a much requested feature. The three-way partitioning of REF L and D has been reverted, since it did not provide a noticeable benefit. It will now use the standard location. I was going to say localization location for the REF L and D installation. This is required to support for file systems. And then it says Cachyos has also received a bunch of fixes and has been updated to the latest version. And then it says changelog features the THP shrinker put max _PTES_none values to 80% for 0 filled pages. This will reduce the memory usage for when THP always is used while maintaining the same performance. Then it says NVIDIA GSP firmware gets now automatically disabled if the user switches on their own to close driver. And then it says CHWD NVIDIA powered service get enabled for laptops to reach the most available TDP. And it says Proton Cachyos DLSS frame generation is now working. This is also expected to work in the future in upstream Proton. Kernel AMD cache optimizer is now applied. Users with dual X3D CCD CPUs can now switch between having frequency or cache cores preferred. Kernel AMD P state backport and AMD P state performance fixes for Strix Point. Kernel added upstream fixes for the TDP issues on AMD RDNA2 and RDNA3 GPUs. Kernel added time fixes for display with 5120 by 1440 by 240 configuration. Kernel experimental auto FOD optimized kernel in the repository under quote Linux Cachyos auto FOD quote. Says ISO add checks if users running handheld edition and warn them if they are starting the installation on an unsupported device. Then it says ISO checks if the user is using the latest ISO if not warned them. Then it says package update Linux Cachyos 6.11.7 NVIDIA 565.57.01 and Mesa 24.2.6 and more. And then it says bug fixes. Refine partitioning change from 3-way partition layout to 2-way. Need to install quote added KD Plasma add-on to the Plasma installation. Cachyos fix a issue while partitioning with a swapping partition. Time sync switch from time google.com to time cloudflare to time.cloudflare.com. Then it says changelog ROG Ally X support should have been improved. And then it says manual changes for existing users. And then it says users which have laptops with NVIDIA D GPUs, and then it says in parentheses 30XX and above, should enable the NVIDIA powered service with the following command. It says sudo space system CT1 space enable space NVIDIA dash and then power D. It says outside of this, just keep your system updated with the following command: sudo pacman sudo space pacman dash SYU. And it says downloads, and yeah. And I'll leave this all this in the description box. So yeah, you Steam Deck fans, you're good. Now we got 12 comments. Let's see what these politicians and debaters talk about. So what they yep. Wait a minute, not this one. Where is he? Okay. Oh, got top 12 comments. See what these debaters and politicians talking about. About Cachyos here. Let's see here. Mark Rose, he said this. 2025 question mark. And then earring right. He said the most exciting distro out there. Thanks PTR. Oh, he's wrong on that. He must have never heard of Puppy Linux. Not Puppy Linux, but what's the XFCE. Anyway, let's see who else is Mixo says this. Not to mention in the changelog is the default NTP server being changed from time.google.com to time.cloudflare.com. And then PTR said this. Sorry, missed that. Should be added now in the blog. Thanks for mentioning. And then Vista said this. Awesome, but I don't see a kernel update for existing users like me. Is this only available for new users? And PTR said this. 1337 says if you're on a 6, he's responding to Vist. He said this. If you're on a 6.11.7, then it's fine. I am generally writing in the changelog some fundamental change of the kernel since the last release. Most of the testing and communication happens in the Discord and forums, but many users might do not use these, and the blog gives a good way to present what has been changed over the months. Sudo Pacman, he says sudo pacman space pacman -syu is enough most at the time. It says the auto FOD kernel is available for x86-64- version 3, x86-64- version 4 and Zen 4 users. We don't know if we keep it up for all, since it's quite a long process to do the profiling for each architecture. And then Verrick said this. Glad to see someone pushing the boundaries. And Fong, he was like, okay, we are the THP spitting package locates. I want to apply them to my local kernel as well, but Google gives me patches for from 2022. And then PTR said this, gave him the link, and we got some more here. And then Fong said, Fong told him thanks. Then Stixy said this. I don't know who, when, where, why, or how, but audio output through built-in SYO eCurves on my X360 now works correctly. Touchscreen seems to work out of the box. No screen auto rotate, but hey, not a thing for me. And like phones, auto rotate is more a pain in the than anything. It's really come along quite nicely in the hours I've tested. And then Chocolate said this, just curious, how would the default Cachyos kernel compare to Xan mod? And then say, complication techniques aside, does it carry a subset / superset of those patches? What do you think of it? Cheers. Well, you know what? Every Linux distro is fun to use, man. It all comes down to the user. You know, it all comes down to the user. Me, I mean, I love Ubuntu, but that XFCE is hilarious. But anyway, you know, I mean, so is so are the others. So they're all good to use. But for right now, you Cachyos users, you got an update. So indulge yourself and enjoy, and experiment, tinker with, play with. And you know, until the next update, you know. So yeah, these Linux developers of all these distros, they're working. Yeah, they work, man. They put a lot of work into this, you know. And ever since the Steam Deck came out, a lot of the distro developers, man, have been stepping their game up, including Ubuntu. So yeah, when Valve choose Arch Linux, yeah, all these developers, man, you know, the distro developers had to step their game up, man. So yeah, because video games is a big part of the Linux OS system as a whole. But anyway, you Arch Linux users, you're good. I'll keep you guys in the loop on anything that I find though. But yeah, this updates works with NVIDIA, AMD, even the Asus ROG, so yeah, and other handhelds. So yeah, that should help you for now. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy though. Nice talking to you people again. Crystal Star Wars Star Trek thing. Dark Section. Go. Peace.